The Zohar in Vayikra Tzadik Gimel. V'Kadosh Baruch Hu, where it's underlined. U'Knesset Yisrael Nikra'im Echad. As if God and the nation of Israel, the Knesset Yisrael, the spiritual source of the nation, are called one. They are one. God's revelation, God's content, not God himself. There's no words about God that we don't discuss him. He's beyond any understanding, any human, any worldly conceptions. But Kudsha Brichu, the divine ideal, let's call it, the manifestation of his name, what he wants to reveal in the world. Through, and Knesset Yisrael, that's the receptacle. Call it the light and the receptacle of that light. They are one. One without the other is not called one. As if God's name, not as if, no, the name of God, the ideal of God is revealed in the world through the nation of Israel. Now we want to discuss what that means, but first let's see more of the source. And one without the other is not called one. As if God isn't called one without the nation of Israel. In other words, Am Yisrael reveals the oneness of God in the world. Not that God isn't one. God is always one. Not dependent on the world or creation or what we think or what we... But he's not called one. What do we say in Adon Olam? Right, that God is... sure, it's in the Russian Siddur also. What is this for? This is for Rosh Hashanah. No, there's a regular Siddur here. Anyway, that he is before the world and after the world, beyond the world, etc. But when is he called Adon? When is he called king? Azai Melech Shmo Nikra. But when he has creatures, when he has people, when he has constituents, then he's called king. Not that he's not king before that, but there's, like the father, before he has children, he's not called father. There's no one to call him father. Right? The rabbis say, Ein Melech B'Lo'am. There's no king without a nation. So until God created, he's not called one. Before he created Am Yisrael, before Am Yisrael, and we'll see the other conditions, not just the nation, but the nation of Israel reveals the oneness of God. As I said, what we reveal in the world is that the divine content can and will be revealed in this world, in the world of multiplicity, the fractured world, what the rabbis called Alma de Piruda, the world of separation, that seems to be so scattered in dualism and evil and good and dark, where there's not one God, but the truth, showing that the body and soul, heaven and earth, it's all one, emanates from one source, and one ideal source, and one good source, and how it's all connected, the connection of all of life to this divine ideal, that's the nation of Israel. But it's not enough the nation of Israel. We'll see another condition. So far it says, as if without Knesset Yisrael, one without the other is not called one. But let's go on. Bo'orei, come and see. Tachazi, the Zohar says, that's the... Kevan sheknesset Yisrael ata begalut. But now that the nation is in the exile, keviachol lo nikra echad, as if he's not called one. You see this, the fifth line is underlined there. As if he's not called one on the right column. Right. Keviachol lo nikra echad, u'matay nikra. When is he called one? B'shah sheyetzu Yisrael min hagalut, when Am Yisrael leaves the exile, u'knesset Yisrael tachzor limkoma lizdavek b'kudsha brichu. When they come back, leave the exile, they come back to their place. What's their place? Eretz Yisrael. And unify, link up with God again. That's we mentioned. We likened it to two pieces of metal that conduct electricity. A piece of metal and a piece of plastic don't conduct. To link up with God again, when Kudsha Brichu, the divine content and the nation of Israel, in the land of Israel, then there is this conductivity, superconductivity that will elevate, uplift. We mentioned superconductors that lift up trains and lift up now, the superconductor that lift up the world. That is Am Yisrael in the land of Israel. When they're outside the land, as if he's not called one. And when is he called one? When the Jews leave the exile and come back to their place. And in that day will be filled what? Look at the verse that's quoted here. And in that day will be fulfilled the verse and that's what it says, what? Bayomahu Shem Echad U'Shmo Echad. When do we say that verse? At the end of Aleinu The verse in Zechariah, every day we say, at the end of all the prayers, in that day God will be one and His name will be one. What do you mean that God will be one? God is always one. But we said, and His name will be one. The name is how He's called, how He's understood, how He's received. God is always one, without receiver, before the world, after the world. Adon Olam b'terem kol yitzir nivra. But let's call it the ideal. The Yud Kei Vav Kei is the ideal, the transcending the divine goal of creation. And the Shem, His name, is how He's revealed. The ideal and the real will be one. There won't be this separation between the reality and the ideal. When is that? When the Jews come back to the land of Israel. That's when God's name is one.